Well, hey friends, my name is Andrea. This is Journals for Breakfast. You are so welcome here. And I'm not going to do much of an intro today. We're just going to go into some overhead and take a look at all of my journals that I have going on. And I hope you'll find some inspiration. Maybe if you're ready to change up the way you're using a few of your journals. Oh, there goes Echo. He's not interested in today's video. And yeah, if you're just looking for some inspo for some change ups or just some new things partway through the year, sometimes what we started with in January is starting kind of losing our mojo on a little bit. So maybe this will get you back on track, and I'll see you in the overhead. Thanks for being here. Okay, so the first thing we're going to take a look at is my good old traveler's notebook passport size. You have seen this bad boy a million times here. This we call my pocket brain. It's kind of my security blanket. It goes with me everywhere. I keep it in all my bags, purses, etc. And it has served as a calendar, a to-do list. Right now it's functioning as my wallet with this little insert because my wallet kind of fell apart. And so that's what I'm using. And since it's always in my bag, it works pretty well. The cover for this I got from Windrose Custom Goods. I've listed her many times in my videos, and I'll be happy to list her in the description of this video as well. Most of these inserts, like this canvas wallet, I got on Amazon, and it is from Traveler's Company. This plastic sleeve that has a place for either photos or business cards, and then kind of a bigger pocket where, of course, I just keep ephemera. This thing, and here's the back side of it, has a zip pocket. Isn't that cool? That was on Amazon. My books vary. I get a lot of the insert books from Etsy makers. I've listed those here before as well. One of them I really like is Just Gee Paper Company out of California. She does really pretty books for passport size. I'm sure. I'm not positive about standard TN. And in this book right now, what I've got going is this little book that, as you can see, has a lot of my collage work on it. I love making this size collage. I think they're fun little projects first thing in the morning. They don't require a lot of bandwidth, and because they're small, they just don't require a lot of paper or space. And I've been putting quotes in here. I've been putting to-do lists in here. So in my very humble journaling opinion, I would call this a commonplace journal, essentially. And yeah, so it's just been great for that. But I saw a reel of a woman doing what she was calling a screenshot journal. So she started printing out all of her screenshots and putting them into a journal. And y'all, I about fell out of my chair. I thought that is so fun. I wish I could give credit to the inspiration for this. But again, it was some doom scroll evening. I was just, thumbing through and caught it, and it stuck in my brain. If you know of someone who's doing screenshot journaling that you think is a valuable resource and worth sharing here, please do so in the comments. Screenshot journal. I have so many screenshots, and I loved the concept of just printing out some of the ones that we've hung on to and putting them in a little journal. And what I'm using to do that is my little mini printer, which y'all have seen here before. This is the Canon Ivy. Also an Amazon purchase. I don't know where else I would buy this. Locally anyway, so that's how that goes sometimes. But Canon Ivy mini print, and you buy these little packs, 10 packs of film, and it shows you film. Yeah, printer, photo printer paper. Gosh, photo printer paper. This isn't film. I'm not taking pictures. I'm printing them. Okay. So zinc paper, they all of them are sticker backed. So you peel the back off and you can stick them into things. I love this thing. I've showed it to you many, many times. My husband has commented a million times that if he had any idea how much use I was going to get out of this, he would have gotten it for me years before when I was originally asking for it. So live and learn, Michael. Okay. So here's the screenshot idea. I go to my phone and I find a screenshot that I've taken, and then I print it out and do a little journaling about it. And sometimes I print out, I screenshot like phrases that I see on Instagram, right? And sometimes I screenshot my own artwork. I don't know why. Maybe I took a picture of it for a friend or something. I don't know. But like I took a photo of my watercolor palette one morning, and then there it was sitting on my phone doing nothing. So I printed it out. It's really pretty, I think. This was a Gemini write up on Instagram that I had screenshot, probably to share with another Gemini or just to reread. Sometimes I think also I screenshot these with the idea that I'm going to do a journaling prompt of my own, like do a little journal entry based on one of these screenshots. But I just love printing them out, sticking them in here, and going from there. So these are 2 screenshots. They're a little hard to read, but I could read them. This was when Journals for Breakfast hit 1,000 subscribers. That was really cool. And yeah, then just some quotes. I probably am rewriting some of this in these spaces because this is hard to read. But you get the general idea. Screenshot of some of my birdies. These are just stickers. And then I just put these in as places to write in some journaling later. And then sometime after the fact, these words came to me and I put them in there. So yeah, you could just set up some kind of blank canvas journaling pages with your screenshots. Just put whatever you screenshot in, then leave this blank and then come back to it if you'd like to. And I was in a collage mood one morning recently. Oh, I love making collages. So put these collages together. Oh, I love looking back at these. This is why I do it. And then you ask why do I take this with me? Gosh, if I'm just feeling a little uncomfortable in a setting, a little antsy, who knows what, it's so comforting to pull this out of my backpack and just look at my own artwork. This was a fun day at the vintage market. We got these giant watermelon lemonades, and a kind person took our picture. So that was a nice screenshot. I mean, gosh, y'all, how many times do you have a photo like that that just sits on your phone for the next 3 years, right? This is me and my trainer. Isn't she adorable? This is Anastasia. I've been working with her for over a year, and she was doing some promo stuff, photography at the gym during a workout one day. And so this is one of the photos that ended up in their promo reel. But I just loved that it was the 2 of us side by side. So that got put in there instead of just disappearing into screenshot land forever. A screenshot of one of my own paintings, another of kind of a Instagram post that just had some really interesting words and thoughts on it. Screenshot journaling, y'all. I'm really loving it. So this dot grid paper, that's what this is turning into. It's going away from the to-do list and kind of commonplacing and becoming this screenshot journal. And I dig it. I really like it. So I hope you find some inspo with that idea. Yeah, I think it's really fun. And then I do have some practical stuff in here. I have a calendar back here. Of course, I've collaged all over it, but it is actually a monthly calendar. And I've shown you all that before too. This is not my planner. What this is so that if I'm out and about, and somebody says, hey, are you free for coffee on the 29th? I can say, let me check. Nope, I'll be in Orlando at the stationery show. So it's just a glance. This is a calendar at a glance is what this monthly does for me. That's really all that's in here right now. A little watercolor that needs some sketching on it and more collage. See, these are the ones I set up, and then there's just blank space for when I get the mood to write some words in there. It's ready for me to go. I like that. And then this back pocket is my fake reading journal. I have a real reading journal that you guys have seen, and we'll do an overhead of that too. This is just a list of what I'm reading. And the reason I keep this with me is because I have discovered that if I am out in the wild and someone says, what are you reading right now? I sometimes can't remember, or perhaps I can remember the name of the book, but then I can't remember the author. So this is just an at a glance, what are you reading right now? That's it. And I just keep that with me, really, just because my mind cannot recall that information, and it just tucks into this back pocket. And then this whole thing wads up into this big chunky delight. And my friend Paula gifted me this incredible Lamy fountain pen, and I love it. I've been writing with it so much, and I just slide it into that elastic, and then this whole bad boy goes with me everywhere I go. So a little calendar and screenshot journaling. Yeah, fun. And speaking of reading journals, here she is. You guys have seen this many times. This is my Archer and Olive. It's got the wheat in gold on the front. And this is a TN size, right? But it's an Archer and Olive notebook. And this has been my reading journal since last year. It started in 2025. And I use my mini printer to print a cover of the book. I write down what number book this is typically. Yep, number 1, first book I read in 2025. And then I just write some stuff about it. And then in 2026, I shifted focus. Not shifted focus. In 2026, I shifted and started going this way. Landscape, I guess. I feel like I have more room to breathe this way, like for writing quotes. And so same thing, I put the book cover image, what number it was, and then write some quotes in. I need to get some more going. If I think that there's going to be a part 2 to something, I leave a space, FYI, if you're wondering. Like When the Moon Hatched, part 2 has already come out, but I'm going to wait for the paperback, so it'll be a while. But then I can put part 2 down here. So it's true, it won't be in order. Like if this was number 7, part 2 won't be number 8. It might even be number 3 of next year of 2027, but I'll still put it there. So here's some of the stuff I've been reading. Teller of Small Fortunes was great. Hail Mary, I enjoyed so much that I have actually read it a second time. I have about maybe 40 pages left of my second read. Addie LaRue, wow, wow, wow. What a story. Just wow. That's all I have to say about that. Sirens, I fell in love, and now I'm completely obsessed with the lore that's involved in this. I'm not going to say anything because it might spoil it for you. Compendium of Lost Tales, I just started, and this is book 3 of Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. And here's the thing. This is my 14th book this year, but I also am keeping track of this in 2025, which seems like overkill, I know. Let's see if we can find it. But I wanted to keep all of her books together in here. I should have marked that for you. Oh, well. You're just getting to see what I read last year. That's fine. I need to do a write-up about Brimstone. It was so good. I really loved it. Okay, let's see. I loved this series too. The 5 Broken Blades. Oh, you just fall in love with these characters. Let's see. We're about to run out of, yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I know I put it someplace else too, where I have the other 2, book 1, book 2, and now book 3, but who knows? It's buried in there somewhere. I am enjoying this so far. And what I wanted to mention is the only thing that doesn't show up in this typically, I think, are kind of my how-to books and self-help books. So like I read Big Magic. I actually have been keeping a separate journal just based on some of this reading. We talked a couple weeks ago about Big Magic, Do Nothing, and A Brain That Breathes. I consider those self-help books, meaning, you know what I mean? Like they're not novels, they're not fiction. I don't know how else to sort of categorize them. If you have a term for that, let me know. But I have a journal for that type of book, and it's not the reading journal. So yeah, I don't know if I put this in here or not. Sirens. Yeah, I did put Big Magic in. At least it gave me a count of what number book it was that I read. Time Hop Coffee Shop, y'all, that was adorable. It was really cute. But like pen and ink drawing techniques that I'm working on right now, my journal for this is where I'm trying these techniques. So I don't put that in my reading journal, even though I am reading it. So there's that reading journal. I love it. This particular one has a pocket in the back, so you can keep reading stickers back here if you want to. And I have this little stencil so I can do my star review and stuff, but it's pretty tiny. I'm actually going to a stationery show soon, and I'm going to look for some stencils while I'm there. I keep a little Tombow in here because it's just the pen I like to write with in this. Did I say that correctly? So reading journal, another flip through. Hope that gives you some inspo. I've had people tell me that they tried reading journals and they just got out of hand. It felt like homework. I feel like this is right for me. It's a cover image. It's enough room for quotes if I'm in the mood for that. It's enough room for my own description if I'm feeling descriptive about a book. And I really do like looking back and reading a little bit about it. It's amazing how much I can forget about a book, even ones that meant something to me, as I move through the year. And so it is a really nice reference just for my own, I don't know, enjoyment. And so I've loved this. As y'all know, I did try to do a big reading journal spread, you know, those fancy ones that you see all of the YouTubers doing. And man, that was a total flop. There's a video on this channel. If you scroll through, you'll find it. It's called Reading Journal Flop to Success or something like that. And you'll see this is right for me. That's the right answer. Like the one I'm keeping in my traveler's notebook, that's almost too small, right? You can't put any quotes or anything in it. Or at least I couldn't. I'm too chunky a writer for that. So I like that as a reference, but I like this for the art and the journaling sort of concept behind it, but on a small scale. So there's the reading journal. Okay, so probably a little bit of a camera jump there. Sorry about that. It has been a few days since I started filming this flip through video. And now we're going to take a look at some of my art journals. Life just did what life does. My week just got busy. This is my collage journal, and this is an Archer and Olive, and I just put a little sticker on here that says Collage 2026, and I added a little glue to it, and it seems to be holding on pretty well. So let's take a look at what's happening in here. We've flipped through this before, but some of you guys are new to this channel. And let me see, I'm going to adjust this. So camera's going to move for a minute. Just give me a sec. Just give a girl a moment, will ya? Thanks. Appreciate your patience. This is kind of rocking out funny. Okay. Yeah, I like that better. Okay. So, I love to put kind of moving parts in my collage. And what I really do with collage is I often set up pages that are collage pages that are just fun. It's just an artistic escape for me. I just have a good time playing with it. But what I usually am doing is setting up blank spots within a collage to write in some journal thoughts. So they could be quotes or affirmations. I could even put down, you know, tape on a nice big piece of paper with a journal entry. I could write right on this paper. But yeah, I love this spread a lot. This one really speaks to me. There's a mix of stuff in here. This is tissue paper from a gift that was sent to me by Paula. These are stickers from Hobby Lobby. This is paper from Flow magazine, their paper issue. So it's just a mix of stuff. This is an old bag from some yarn I ordered. That's how I like to do it. I really love this one. It's very clean. That's not usually my style. I'm usually pretty cluttered, and I like the kind of crisp, clean look of this. Also, I think the blues help with that too. Blue is a clean color to me. This is far more like what I usually do. It's pretty hot mess, but I was in the mood for some darker backdrop stuff. And this is a postcard. I was really struggling with something at this time. Something was going on with me, and I wrote myself a postcard about it so that it becomes a bit of a journal entry in that sense. And I like to put stuff behind it too. So when I come back to this, I could read this postcard to myself about what was happening at that moment in time. So it's a little bit of a Dear Diary in that sense, but that's not what this journal is meant to be. It's just a space for collage. And when a writing moment hits, I let it happen. This postcard is from a collection of art cards that I picked up at a museum shop many years back. This one, I did the whole collage and then came back in and did some journaling about rest. And let's see, I had drawn a card that was the dolphin spirit. You are at a place right now where your past self is still present as you move toward the new self you are becoming. I really liked that message. I've done a lot of changing in the last 6 years, 7 years of my life. And so kind of this idea of finding a new self really speaks to me right now. Let's see, this one. Follow your heart, listen to your magic, pure intention, trust your passion. It's really having a renaissance with loving young me. This has to do with some stuff that's been going on in therapy, including an ADHD and autism diagnosis. And it's really helped me engage with and find a lot of love for the young me who was not diagnosed. So this page kind of speaks to that. I really love it. I really like how that came out. This is just, I'm in the mood for collage, but don't have anything to journal about. So I just set up blank spaces. So I can come in and put quotes here. Same here. Same here. So I just left myself lots of journaling space. So that'll be really fun one day when I'm in a writey kind of mood to come in and fill that back in. And I like that spread too. This one I just did yesterday and it is crazy. So it's got a lot of mixed stuff in it. This bookmark of this just amazing, just badass woman over here. I love her. This came from Pen Pal, thank you, Deck. And the back of it mentions, she tells me the pattern she's knitting that these yarns went with, so I can see what she's knitting. But I loved this woman so much. She needed to be in one of my collages, and I just left the yarn attached. I like it. I like the feel of it, and I like the look of it. This was just a little scribble scrabble bird of mine and a little phrase on the back. You must step into the unfamiliar so that you may find your miracles. I love that. That's a bit of that sort of what we've talked about here of big magic, you know, just accepting your fears and moving through anyway. Yeah, and then I just had fun putting some stuff together. I was in a really collage-y mood yesterday. And so this guy came together and he has a lot of bits and pieces. These are some feather brush strokes I was doing as a warm-up one morning. This is a bookmark that I was actually testing gloss coatings on watercolor. See the shine? So that's really what that's about. And so he was just kind of this extra piece. So I just stuck him in there. And speak freely with kindness, transport your listener to the realm of poetry. I surely hope that's what I do on occasion. I think mostly I just babble. Wouldn't it be nice if I transported you to the realm of poetry? So this is my collage journal this year. Now, I do collage in everything. You saw it in my traveler's notebook, the passport size. I collage into calendars. I collage anywhere that I can stick paper, I stick paper. So this is just that this entire book is devoted to the concept of collage this year. So when I'm just in the mood for a big collage spread, this is where I go. But if you're like, hey, are those 6 or 8 collages all you've done this year? Heck no. I've done pages and pages and pages of them, just in other stuff, in other places. So there's the collage. Okay, this is Watercolor 2026, and I did a label for this as well that is kind of peeling off a little bit. I also watercolor in a million other places. I have sketchbooks going right now with watercolor in there somewhere. Sketchbooks going with watercolors in them. There they are. So there's a lot of these little sketchbooks floating around with things I'm testing and trying happening in them. I have a watercolor book that I'm just doing washes in. Something I'm just working on right now is this wash concept. The further I go into this, the more you'll see that. This is one of my absolute favorites. So obviously it doesn't have any sketching over it yet. Will it ever? I don't know. Wash. This was a big bright wash I did this morning. So I have watercolor everywhere also, but this book is meant to be kind of devoted to watercolor for journaling, I guess is what I mean. Like I won't write, I'm not going to write all over this. You know what I mean? I'm going to end up making a scene, as I tend to do on these, of the horizon, some homes back here, condos, some plant life in here. So this is really paintings, and as are all of my watercolor books. This one is watercolor for journaling. So I create these watercolor pages, and then I can come in and write on them, and you'll see that throughout here. I love this one so much. I don't think I'll put anything on that. And this is a shed that's on a little side street off of our neighborhood. See, so here I start some journaling and then watercolor. Swatches, I would love to do some writing just in here, and I might even write at a different angle and then let the words flow over into this sky and ocean scene. So this is the sky, this is the horizon, this is the water. I think I was just playing with, what I was really playing with here is white markers that I use on top of watercolor, just to kind of see what sort of clouds I get out of that. It's an okay result. I don't adore it, but it's okay. So here's some journaling. Here's a splatty page. I put some white so you could read the writing, and then did some journaling over it. This was just a 2-page spread. I don't know if I'll write anything on this or not. Same view as always, my marsh, horizon, the sky. Here it is again, just in a different color set. I picked 3 colors to work with on this one, blue and sepia and black. And then here I did the same marsh, but then I did do writing on it. And I was playing with these little swatches. I don't know what I was doing with those, but anyway, I cut them out and made a little collage collection out of those. And there's our beautiful scene again. And then I just was in the mood. The day that I painted this, I was in the mood for some collage. So I did some watercolor back here and then glued a bunch of paper on it. So it's not technically a collage notebook, but so watercolor and collage, and a room for a little journaling over here. Then I got playing with this idea of painting a bird. I think these are the first birds I ever tried. So I just was playing with that concept in this book for a bit. And then some journaling here. And now these are set up for journaling. I'm going to put some affirmations or words or concepts in these spaces, and same with these little hanging ornaments. So just when I'm in the mood for like moving the paintbrush around, but I don't want to paint something, this kind of thing is great for that. I get the urge to paint and put paint on paper out of the way, but I don't have to have the wherewithal to create a scene. So here's some more journaling here, and my marsh scene there. And so you see what I mean about just putting words. So this one I was pointing out what this is. This is a beam paint swatch sampler. But in that other one, I want to put actual affirmations and words that mean something to me. Rest, honor, grace, things like that. Joy. Just playing with some different colors here. Let's see, got a little sketchy one morning. I was trying to get some depth in trees with different colors. That's what this exercise was about. It was marginally successful. And then I just did a sketch of what was in front of me. So this book will look familiar because it's this book. Yeah, that's it. It's as far as I've gotten with a watercolor journal. But see, I can journal in this journal now. Isn't that kind of fun? So there's watercolor journal. Hope you enjoyed that. Okay, this last journal, and this is the last one we're going to do a flip through today of, listen, y'all, I mean, I have 13 journals going right now. We could be here forever. But I'm just showing you the ones that I'm just sort of currently really heavy-handed in. And this one I have created to honor rest. This honoring rest is a video that's 2 videos ago. So if you want to scroll down in videos, you can find it. But I will put a link to it as well, if that makes it easier for you, if you'd like to watch that video about honoring rest. This was a piece that my friend Paula did. And I just put it into the cover of this. It's beautiful. So I did a little collage, a quiet mind that honors rest. That is the focus of this journal. But I want to share with you something kind of fun that's coming, and it's going to be the focus of my next video in the school of honoring rest. So what I've done in here, I showed you guys this when we talked about honoring rest. We talked about a couple different books, and one that I'm reading now is A Brain That Breathes, and it is wonderful. I'll do another review of this once I'm through it, but already her language is just incredible. So here's some thoughts about honoring rest. Again, some of these pages are in more detail in the honoring rest video, but what I've added to that is continuing the practice of honoring rest in every day. It is truly a practice. It is not my immediate or automatic space. It is not where I go naturally. I have to focus on it. It requires intention and often stopping mid-thought and redirecting, allowing time for that, allowing for grace and self-compassion as I learn this new path is the practice. The path is the practice. Hopefully the result is the honoring of rest in every day. What does daily rest look like? And I've listed a few things for myself here that work for me. Turn off the mental tape that's running in my mind, the should list. And that has already, it's funny to me to look back at that as number one, because I've been working so diligently on that it has stopped happening, to be honest with you. 15 minutes with no unnatural noise. So birdsong, yes. TV, no. That's tricky to do. My friend Paula told me about her practice with that. And it really is about just getting outside and just listening and rehoning those listening skills. Time in nature without distraction. We've talked about that here many times. But you know what's funny? I don't take my phone with me. I take it down with me once every 15 days or so to take a few photos for you guys for these videos. But barring that photo session for a few minutes, I do all my nature time without my phone. So I talk about that. But you know, the distraction for me is number one. It's letting a mental to-do list run while I'm really meant to be just enjoying the view. Take a nap. Boy, am I good at that. And then read a book in a silent room. Man, you know, it just seems like everywhere we go, there's noise, just background music, background TV. It's never off. When was the last time you had nothing on in the room that you were in and just read? It is a really lovely experience. Resources for honoring rest, anything Pema Chodron, Ordered a Brain That Breathes by Jodi Wilson, well underway, my turntable, nature, and ta-da, my summer camp. I told you guys in Honoring Rest that one of the things I'm trying to do this summer is just embrace the concept of summer break, like a real 3-month summer break, like the ones we had in the 70s and early 80s. There were no video games, there were no computers, there were no smartphones. Frankly, there was nobody around. You were alone a lot of the day. You laid out in the backyard because that's the only place where the sun was shining. I miss those kinds of summer days where there just was no timeline. We still managed to get things done and have nice dinners and enjoy life, but just at such a different pace. So I've decided to curate a summer camp for myself. My next video, I'm going to share with you the resources and some of the books and tools that I'm bringing in for that summer camp. But a few things about the summer camp are here. I've joined the Creative Journaling Club online. I'm going to share more about that with you. I'm reading A Brain That Breathes. That is my summer read. I've ordered in some craft books and project books that I plan to work essentially cover to cover through the summer. Let's see, summer camp continues somewhere. Oh, my summer camp continues. I got a new app for my phone that I'll share with you guys. We'll talk about that, but it's really an Audible app. It's a music that's meant specifically to kind of quiet down the ADHD brain. That's really what it's designed for. One thing I will share with you about ADHD, if you're not familiar with it, is, and autism on some spectrum as well. One of the things that happens with our little neurodivergent minds here, as it was described to me, is that basically, you know, have you ever looked at your computer and realized across the top bar that you have 27 tabs open? Okay. 4 of them are either music or video, and they're actually currently running. And you couldn't figure out why your laptop battery kept dying and dying and dying. Okay. You got 27 tabs running, and a few of them are running action video, real live action happening. Shut some of those tabs down. The ADHD autistic mind has a tendency to keep all files open at all times. It's very hard for us to zone in, right? The Indel app that I purchased was recommended to me, and the type of music, the frequency, the way that the beats run, it is intended to activate both sides of the brain simultaneously. And with both sides of the brain are simultaneously activated, even almost sort of subconsciously activated. So it's in the background, this music, right? What that does is allows my brain to just slow down, shut a bunch of tabs down, and get focused on one file at a time. So that's been an interesting addition. And I'm going to do a cross stitch this summer instead of knit. It is just so hot here. Hands full of wool are not appealing to me this summer. So I'm going to try a cross stitch, but I'm going to keep building a summer camp for myself. And I'm going to set up in a few minutes my summer camp cart. So I will show that to you in our next video. But that's really what's been going on here. Let's see, words to embrace include things like clarity, passion, intention. Words to release include things like should, distraction, approval seeking, right? And I'm just keeping that as an ongoing list. And that's kind of the rest and honor rest space. Finding space, moving through burnout. Yeah, all that good stuff. So that's that little guy. He certainly isn't super pretty inside, but I may change that. I may throw a few collages here or there just because I like to have some artwork in with my journal stuff. I think it's an enjoyable practice. So there's that. Yeah, I hope you'll enjoy that. And I'll do a face-to-face and we'll wrap this up.
Oh, real quick, I wanted to show you guys the update on the 5-year journals. I am keeping 2 of them. The one that I'm working in at the moment in this video is the Hobonichi 5-year. And what I put down every day is the day of the week, because that's going to change year to year, the temperature, the low and the high. And then if I've gone to the gym, I put that in the top corner. And then I write down what we're watching. I write down what we've had for dinner, and then I write some little something about the day. I keep it pretty simple, but it might say, met Amber for coffee and had a quiet afternoon at home. So it's just simple entries like that. But it's been a fun practice, and I have to tell you, it takes only a few seconds. I tend to set up the temperature for the week. So like I'll come in on Monday and put down Monday, the low and the high temp. Then I'll move over to Tuesday, the low and the high temp, Wednesday, the low and the high temp. I go ahead and fill all that in because I discovered it's actually tricky to find past weather. You can do it, but you have to go to like a website. And it's more steps than I want to take. So it's better to just get your weather laid out for you for the week. And then I often go ahead and write down watching with an underline and dinner with an underline. So it's just set up for me to just step into and start journaling. So far, I have only ever had to backfill maybe 3 pages at a time. So not many. And they're just such simple entries. And I am really enjoying this little journal. I honestly think 5 years from now, looking back at these days and what they looked like and what we were eating for dinner is going to be interesting. I just do. So anyway, that's that. And then I'm also working in a rifle paper company 5-year. And why am I keeping another 5-year? I actually wanted to test both brands. I just wanted to see what I felt about the entry space, the size of the journals, etc. So I thought, why not? And to be honest with you, I was repeating a lot of information from one to the other. So I had to get really focused with the Rifle Paper Company one and lock that down to a joy moment. So all I write down in the Rifle Paper Company one is a joy moment from each day. And it's really taken a lot of practice, y'all. I thought I would be able to do that very quickly, pop in a quick little joy moment. But time and again, I would write down joy moment, put little colon and an underline, and then go to write something and realized I was just repeating what I'd written in the Hobonichi. So here's the Rifle Paper Company one. It's a little bit bigger. And I've gotten better at the joy moment being one small thing. Coffee with Amber, bookshop with Sue, birdsong this morning, right? Like just keeping it really simple. But I'm actually surprised how tricky of little practice that was for me. But that's what I'm keeping in there. And so far, I have no trouble keeping them both up. And I've stopped repeating info page to page. So I do think they're going to be distinct in the end. And I do think they're going to be fun to look back at in the end. So that's the little update on the 5 years. I just haven't showed you guys those in a while and wanted to let you know that they're still alive and kicking. I'm still enjoying them.
Okay, so I hope you found that flip through inspiring. I always do. I love seeing what people are doing in their journals. I love seeing people's spreads for their planners. And I just wanted to remind you a couple things. comes Mr. Echo. We just got back from the hottest walk in the history of walks. Okay. Brain that breathes. What I have decided is that I am actually going to create a section in this video, in this journal. I'm going to block off a section that's devoted to this book because this is my summer read. And I just have so many quotes already that I want to put in here. And then I'm going to block off a small section that's devoted to the summer camp. So I just showed you guys like the listing of things that I'm putting together for my summer camp. I'm going to do a section that has a lot more detail about the plans for that. I have 2 cross stitch kits that I want to get going. I don't know which one to start with. I have a couple of craft books, like I said, coming in. I'll show you those. One is from Flow magazine, which you guys may be familiar with from here. It's an older one, but I found it on thrift books and it seems like it's in pretty good shape. So I've got some drawing and sketching skills that I'm working on this summer. I can't remember everything else. Anyway, I'm going to put it all in here. I'm going to do a video about that. It probably will be my next video, except to say that Friday, today is Sunday, Friday I'm going to go to the stationery show in Orlando, and I would like to do a small kind of vlog style video about that experience and get that up next weekend. And then shortly after that will be my summer camp video. So that's what I'm going to do. And I wanted to point out that this morning I did add some art to this. I just decided it needed a little love in there. So a couple of my old watercolor studies and some quotes from A Brain That Breathes. So I hope that the flip through was inspiring. Let me know what you guys are doing with your journals, and I will get some footage of the stationery show on Friday. Yeah, and then we'll move on. I cannot wait to share my summer camp plans with you. So thanks for being here. It's always wonderful to have you guys here in this space. And we don't have a prompt for our journals this week, so I wanted to just read you something from this book. It says, oh, there's so much to read you, but here's this one. Every day we should do something that we would have been doing 10,000 years ago. Bask in a patch of sunlight, take a mid-afternoon nap, breathe deeply while looking out at the horizon, sit under a tree and have a bit of a think. And I loved that concept. Would you have done it 10,000 years ago? Here's what I'll say. Would you have done it 200 years ago? All the new stuff, you know how I feel about technology. I just think it is just pulling us into 1,000 pieces. So, and Echo and I, our late afternoon walk, we tend to do around 4. We go down to the marsh and there's a patch of shade, and he will always stop and sit in that patch of shade. There's a breeze in the afternoon. It must have something to do with like northeasterly winds or something that shift in the later part of the day. And so we can just sit even on the hot days and just enjoy the breeze and look at the marsh. And there it is in her suggestions of things we would have done 10,000 years ago. So maybe for journaling this week, write down a few things that you could incorporate into your week that would have happened at least 200 years ago. Okay, great to see you. Thanks for being here, and I'll look forward to seeing you soon.